All right, we'll go back to the final match, the ace match in this qualifying series. Looking to see which of these two makes it through to the group stage. Spawning here on the leftmost side of Catalina, or as Kane would say, the, I guess, 945 position. It's going to be Petraeus.
In the upper rightish position as the red Zerg gets Liquid Snute.
I saw Team Liquid's TLO and Snute both sign up for this qualifier, and I immediately assumed that one of those two was going to get through. Petraeus has got Snute on the ropes. TLO's been knocked out. This is kind of a crazy end for the qualifiers.
Yeah. And it's not even all Zerg. Marine Lord.
Yeah, Marine Lord ripping the Terran in the southern half of the bracket. You know what the magic for this was, though? Like, for the last, like, half of a year, guys, every time we've invited Snute to something, he wants to play, and he either can't because he's got something he's traveling for and it just doesn't work out time-wise, or he agrees to and then realizes he has to cancel because of this, that, or the other. Like, Snute's a really nice guy, but it's just funny that, like, the one time we actually get him to play in something, it's only a qualifier. And there's a chance he may not actually make it to the main tournament.
Yeah. More than a chance. Petraeus looking rather strong. Even that last game. I think that last game really came down to that really awful attack that he got caught in a bad position. So.
Well, what I find so crazy about that game too is like that was the game with the spore crawler offense, right? Or the attempted spore crawler offense.
I really thought Snute was going to be in a much worse position. He was in a delicate position, you know. But it wasn't actually that bad after what I thought was absolutely no damage done.
I would argue borderline almost out of the game. Like that's how worrisome I got when it got to that stage. But
yeah.
Either way, like you can't argue. It came down to a base race, a full-on base trade. I mean, when that happens, it's always down to the wire, right? But I don't imagine we'll get that happening here on Catalina. In fact, if anything, I would bank on one of these guys getting a little bit aggressive. We see so much baneling and zergling back and forth on this map in particular.
Maybe that's why Petraeus chose it.
Yeah, perhaps.
I don't know.
For folks asking about money, though, for who wins, there's actually no money for anything getting played out today. This is simply the qualifier for the main tournament. There's a $4,000 prize pool, tentative. It's officially $2,000 no matter what. I still have to wait for funds to come to the bank account before I can happily announce and confirm. But $4,000 ideally for this tournament, so there's a lot of money on the line for these guys to actually play, and that's why there's so much pressure on these qualifiers. There's only one qualifier per region.
Yeah. Much more cutthroat than the last tournament.
Yeah, but definitely a different experience. I mean, I don't know about you. I've had a lot of fun being inconsistent with our formats, like constantly changing it up to experiment and test out like what works, what doesn't. And it's not boring that way either, you know? Going from like an 8-man invite to like a 32-man half qualified, half invited tournament.
For the most part, you tell me to cast stuff, and I just do it. So
you're just like, "What's up? I'm here." Sorry.
Yeah.
I guess I get excited because like I'm the one, like I
yeah, you're
behind
actually figuring it out.
Yeah, I gotta plan the dates and talk to the players, all that stuff. Nice little link micro going on the moment. You actually don't see Zergling micro too often, and both of them walk away. What?
Petraeus like to say that technically he did win that one.
Mike, you know, more health, so yeah.
Yeah, his link has slightly more health. Ooh, fast Evo chamber for Snute. Petraeus, lots of lings on the way.
So it's kind of important for Snute the Evo chamber doesn't get scouted. I mean, the baneling nest, honestly, revealing the baneling nest is a lot less revealing than revealing that you might be going for +1 carapace. Or if you're cats, +1 weapons, but that's a whole nother can of worms, right? First blood.
Cats. Oh, this is a bag of cats, isn't it?
A bag of cats? What are you talking about? What?
Idioms? No, never mind.
You're an idiom. Shut up. Alright, so anyways. Sorry, there was nothing witty to follow that up. It was just a stupid joke. The baneling aggression does start, and as predicted, we got to kind of go back and forth. The Snute spread of the Queens is really great. The focus fire has been fantastic. However, with the way this has been going, I don't think he's going to get that breathing room to go for that +1 carapace. Not anytime soon, at least. Did you see that with that scout? Oh my god, these banelings at the ramp need to finish up. Bombers with the cocoons coming in. It takes 3 hits to kill a cocoon, not 2. Queen's doing most of the work here, most of the legwork, 4 of them in total. Doing a great job of holding on to this so far. But Petraeus, he's moved on to a layer behind this. Probably going to see those gases, and I imagine, well, never mind, actually a roach horn comes down.
Well, Snute might be going for a fast Spire here.
Yeah. Muto's definitely not bad on this map. The way it's laid out, the amount of dead space you have to work around, and because he didn't invest anything into the Carapace upgrades, he's not really obligated to stick to that ground tech.
If it can't, it wouldn't be fast Mutas, first of all, but I don't think it can be Mutas with that layer so late. Snute? It only just started.
Well, what else do you do with the I mean, if you had a Rochefort or something, or I guess, like, you don't just go Hydra then, right? You don't pull Penguin and just go Hydras.
Yeah, not in CVZ. I agree. It's got to be at this point, unless he does it on Rochefort right now. It's got to be for those Mutas. It will be later Mutas than we're used to seeing. Although, you know, 3-hash Mutas isn't exactly uncommon. We've seen like a couple other Zerg players do it, but gonna be a couple more Ling fights. Petraeus, he's starting to get some roaches, but Snute can still overwhelm him.
Man, that queen control, by the way, like I can't stress how sick I was watching that once again. Because it was, do you remember the map on Whirlwind versus Targa? Was that Snute also with the crazy queen control? Yo, maybe I do because I enjoyed it so much more, but yeah, Queens from Snute held this game together so well, like glue, and we got a lot of Lings coming across the map. The problem is there are roaches. Back against the wall, in a choke, on the ramp, like roaches can take on those Lings no problem. But if they're out in the open like this, Snute's got so many Lings, he might just be able to get this around and kill them.
Yeah, Petraeus realizes this starts a couple of Banelings. You really need Banelings against someone who's only going for Lings. They will overwhelm you. So with that, and you know, Snoop's got it with an Overlord, you can't do anything. These Lings will still be helpful because eventually you're going to have the opportunity to attack somewhere with the Mutas and attack somewhere else with the Lings, and maybe they'll have their army on one hotkey, and that's when something does some type of damage. But until then, the Lings are just going to be minor nuisances.
Well, what I think is kind of the bigger deal here is Snute's kind of faux aggression he's putting on with these Lings is keeping Petraeus from coming across the map and really hurting him, because this is that vulnerable time where you sometimes will see Zerg players put up to 5 spines when they build the spine crawl, or the spire up rather, because they're so scared of that roach attack.
That's true. That's a very good point. A couple of more roaches are on the way, so that's exactly what Petraeus is looking to do. You're realizing that there's going to be a spire. Again, he has an Overlord in position to see it.
If he didn't need that Baneling, this would have been a lot more pressure for Petraeus to worry about.
9 Mutas are on the way out. He has 2 Spine Crawlers to the natural, a couple Queens, 1 Spine Crawler at the 3rd.
All the transfuses in the world, though, aren't going to stop this many roaches. Even if the Mutas do come, it's going to take a while to whittle through these. But you know, I say that, but the transfuses are keeping the Spine alive. It's gotten like 7 more shots off than they should have. Some of the roaches have even died, and the Queen's starting to fall here, but they're out of energy. No more transfuses. Spine Crawler does go down, but the Mutas are about to pop, and we'll see if this can do enough damage. These drones are going to get killed, but the question is how many?
I think enough.
Yeah.
Petraeus is now up by 40 supplies. Snute's follow-up of his own roaches isn't going to be powerful at all. He's also down by 10 drones. His 3rd is going to get wrecked. Spine Crawler's not enough.
Well, actually, the roaches in the main and the natural derping here a little bit, so Snute cleans those up for free. Now, mostly just the ones with the 3rd to deal with it. By transferring the drones back and forth, he really minimizes the losses. Like, he's still losing them. The roaches are fast enough to get on top of them, but it's, you know, it's 10 workers killed instead of like 27.
Yeah, that's true.
Snute's actually pushed this back. Really nicely done.
Yeah, the Mutas, they do something though, but Spore Crawlers make it so easy for them not to do anything. You know, 1 Spine Crawler, or Spore Crawler in the main. Mineral lines, and then 1 covering like any extra like base, you know, in between the bases, and you're pretty much covered entirely. So I don't know, Snute's I guess now he has the opportunity to catch up in drones. It's been really hard.
Yo, that segment off, by the way, of those 3 Mutas, I think he was just looking for some Overlord kills, but when we stumbled upon the roaches, that's a really big find. Ling's gonna run into Petraeus' 3rd. The roach is gonna try to respond, but now the Queen does go down. And there are Spore Crawlers coming down every freaking where, so Snute's kind of limited on what he can do with the Mutas. But one thing for sure is, even if, like, once he finally cleans up all this roach aggression, once he finally cleans up all this attack, he's going to start stripping away those Overlords. Petraeus is going to be playing blind, and even though he's going to have a really nice ground army, it's no good if you can't see where you're going.
Bro just finished up.
Yeah.
It's an easy fix. Does keep the Mutas back. Yeah, there are a lot of Overlords that Petraeus, you know, if he had immediately pulled them back, they probably would have been home by now.
Still, though, the actual count of units right now for Snute is... it's all in the air, right? So the roaches can just walk past some of these things, like, and try to go with these burrow tactics.
I don't know if it's really working out so much, though. The Lings actually can deal with small amounts of roaches okay. I think he's giving away supply. I mean, otherwise, you know, all of this, that's like 20 roaches, I think. Some of the mains and the after, some of the third that died that didn't really need to. That could have been a really powerful attack with a lot of or a lot of hydras, as the hydras then did finish up.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too is like there's that rule where it's talking about Snoop's kind of following it. You know, you don't keep investing into the mutas after a point. He started to transition back to the roaches, but for a time, Petraeus can't really move out anymore. Like for a time, Snoot's gonna have control of the map, but we'll see if that's enough time because he's down a ton of workers. He's down in that income, and he's certainly behind on upgrades.
He's doing such a great job of just making up for it, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is 10 mutas. This is like 16. Normally you see like 7 and then stop, right?
Exactly. I mean, he got a couple of roach... the roach attacks from Petraeus, I think, really died off really quickly, and he just kept doing them. The hydras, they came out so you feel lots... Oh, wow. Oh, banelings, hey.
That's one surefire way to kill a spore crawler and a ton of roaches, wow!
Hey, that was... Was that worth it? Was that...
I don't know.
Does he have the hydras?
Not right now, I don't think he has the hydras, but if he waits for like another 1 or 2, I think he would just barely have it. The queen's out too. Transfuse is going down, but he's actually losing the hydras. Not enough health to transfuse through those. Spore crawlers are being transferred down, but this takes away that defense from the main.
Oh wow, still doing a lot, and he's actually continuing to invest in mutas, seeing that they're actually doing a really great job.
Petraeus pulled both the spore crawlers. I thought he just pulled one, so this is problematic in the fact he's going to lose some tech if Snute decides to hang around, but Snoot's going to head back home and try and defend against these roaches. Not a bad choice either, but I am shocked that that turned around so well for him. Yeah,
Petraeus just never had enough gas to get more than, you know, 8 hydras, and they're just a little bit spread out. And 16 units actually do pretty well against that. This roach attack desperately needed, though. He needed to take a breather. Without the spore crawlers in the main, he was going to lose a lot. But even then, again, this might do a whole lot. The only thing it might do is just keep Snute back for a little bit.
Where's that overseer, though? That burrow coming into effect once again. Guess this is going to make a new one. Well, Snute finally has a drone lead for the first time in a long time. And if he can buy enough time, you know, if he makes up those upgrades, gets on +2, gets his roach count up. I mean, Petraeus has been throwing away a lot of his armor just to harass Snute. I mean, at a point, you're like 7 drones, okay, cool. Next time it'll be like 3 drones. After that, it'll be like no drones.
Snute is suddenly taking a supply lead. And those roaches just not doing, again, what they could have done, I guess, in another situation. Mutas... Slow banelings. I don't think it's gonna get the same effect as he did last time, you know? Those banelings killed so many roaches and just a couple of hydras, but this time the queen's here, the spore crawler's there. He can spread, he won't be not looking.
Exactly, Petraeus will be here this time. That's one of the bigger points, I think. But he's gonna ram these right to the spore crawlers, try to take the sense to try and get involved with the fight with those mutas, but we'll see if that's even enough. I mean, there's still quite a few hydras, quite a few queens behind this. He's actually gonna duck south and head towards the main question mark.
Yeah, that was a bit of an equalizer right there. Snute didn't get anything done besides kill a couple of spore crawlers. Now Petraeus is going to have infestors, so finally being able to clean up these mutas will be such a relief, as again, they're not the 8 mutas that are kind of annoying, but whatever. No, they're 16, 17 mutas, which they're more than just a kind of an annoyance if you're dealing with the damage.
Petraeus also supply blocked. Finally, Snoot's going to get that overlord count low enough to do that, but you know, as cool as this is, and as much damage as Snoot's been doing, none of it's really been to the drone line for quite some time. Like, he had that one fluky attack before, but now he's really looking for a way to get a fight in. He's going for baneling speed, curiously enough.
Yeah, I think he really wants to use these banelings, seeing an opportunity to do so.
It's like Muta into a roach bane. Oh, sick.
It's a rare composition, but mass Muta with banelings I think is very frustrating to deal with.
Dodging the fungals pretty well here is Snute. He's going to lose all the mutas, though, sadly, at the end of the day. Gets some pretty good kills for it, but gave away that really mobile, very nice lead he had.
Yeah, you gotta imagine he really wanted to take the infestors down. He was willing to give away the mutas, but I would think the mutas would have been more better. They would have been better. So the banelings take down all of the hydras, which is a perfect scenario. Yeah, that's true, but it's definitely possible. Then suddenly 16 mutas actually do start that, again, the snowball kind of rolling effect, and now it's not going to happen with just 3 mutas.
Well, you know, one of the big things, too, a lot of energy was used on that. There's still a couple of fungals left, but we talked about it last time. If there's one thing that's going to shut banelings down, it's a lot of fungal growth. So it's still going to have to spread his banelings out. He can't just come in one big A move, but Petraeus' army is somewhat fragile because he doesn't have those fungals ready to go. He can't just shut all these banelings down with 1 or 2 good shots.
They're ready to go right now. At least one goes down.
He does get 2 good shots though, but they'll live with 1 health barely. Coming in to go for that suicide move. Snute is going to keep pushing. The roach count, though, 41 for Snute over the 24 for Petraeus. We'll see if the roach count's enough to bully this down. Effectively, the upgrades are very similar, 2-0 versus 1-1. But I think the Hydras with DPS is a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, Snoot's down in supply right now. The banks are pretty similar. Snute always down on drones with this entire game. And Petraeus now has the better tech. The banelings were used. Snute really can't remax on banelings. And it's, I mean, he's getting mutas. 2, 3 mutas. Oh, I don't think it's gonna help.
I think it's at this point, though, you're just trying to make whatever you can, right?
Yeah, desperate scenario, kind of like the emergency Banshee, but I mean, Banshees can actually win a game. They can kill 15 roaches until they're back into the game. DTs can do that as well. 4 mutas, not so much.
Well, as far as Petraeus' sake, I mean, it's definitely looking good for him. The odds are in his favor. Doesn't have a whole lot actually going for him, Petraeus. And, well, Petraeus finally has like an upgrade lead definitively now, too, which is really nice.
Yeah, everything's kind of going in his favor. 4th base on the way as well. Snoot's either going to have a really great attack or really great defense. Like, there's no real shenanigans that he can depend on. He's not the one with the banelings anymore. He's never done infestors, so no burrowed infestor stuff, no burrowed roach stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's all stuff that like can get you like back into a game. Harassment, right? But just depending on army versus army, you're gonna lose almost 100% of the time.
So he's trying to get his own Hydra list up. I guess that's kind of the thing for Petraeus, though. Like, it's really easy for us to discern, hey, he's really far ahead, right? But you know, he just took a big slam to the face. He doesn't really know what Snoot's got behind this. I mean, he hasn't seen the 4th in a long time. He doesn't know whether Snute actually took that or not. But he's just getting some work done.
Some. Yeah, I guess Petraeus is pretty shy about going into attack, and it's too bad. He is up 30 supply and his upgrades as well.
Well, this is the problem, is they both come towards maxing out. You know, obviously gives Snute a much better chance to actually take a fight, but at the same time, like, we'll see whose bank looks a little bit better behind that. It could really influence the way the game actually ends. It might not actually be just one simple trade, but a trade into a game-ending counter-attack or follow-up attack. Either way, this is looking quite scary as Petraeus is coming across the map, and the roach count right now is still, it's 48 to 51, kind of similar, but it's the 14 Hydras for Petraeus that really tip this in his favor.
Good spread, though. Snute with a lot of transfuses. This queen's been alive for quite a while.
It's such a hard hold to make, but he's going to do the best that he can. Fungal growth on top of the roaches, but it doesn't stop him from getting involved in the fight. Still in range to attack. Transfuses are going down on those roaches that were fungal, but the queens are getting killed here on the right side. Drones are being pulled, and for Petraeus' sake, he's taking a pretty big lead here in the roach count. The Hydras, though, somewhat nullified. You know what? Snoot's defender's advantage might just barely be enough to hold this. Still, though, the roach count dwindled in quite quickly.
Look at the supply. Petraeus doubling the supply. Even if all of these died,
he lost
they can't retreat.
Yeah, he pulled the drones into that. 24 workers died. Snoot's not going to have any money to make anything with. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Snute is about to be knocked out of this by Petraeus. Jeez, enjoy the tournament. Wow. Congratulations, Petraeus. Definitely earned that qualifying spot. He'll be the first player to qualify into our group to join Bly and Littlebow in the European portion of our tournaments.